So let's start modeling our plant. Right-click the cube to select it and press Delete to delete it. Make sure your 3D cursor is centered. You can move the cursor by left-clicking anywhere on the scene. So if you accidentally moved it, you can press Shift-C to recenter it. Press Shift-A and under Empty, select Image. Go to this panel over here and let's open up our reference. This is just a quick sketch I did for this tutorial, but you can use your own or a photo if you want. Note that every time you add a new object, it will show up in your overview panel right here. So if I were to add a cube, you'll see it pop up here as well. We can delete the cube from here by right-clicking it and selecting Delete. We can also rename our objects here, so let's rename our new empty. This type of model is easier to make when you model it from a certain view. So let's go under View and select Top. Press 5 on the numpad to go from perspective mode into orthographic. It should show what mode you're in the top left corner right here. Orthographic view doesn't distort the perspective like perspective view does, so it's useful to use while you're modeling. Press S for scale and move the mouse to scale the leaf so it's a bit bigger. Now center the leaf by dragging the X-axis, that's this little red arrow over here, with the left mouse button. You can also move it by pressing G for grab, and then to make it move on the X-axis, press X and just slide it along with your mouse. You can do this with the Y and Z axis as well. Press Shift-A again and go to Mesh and then add a plane. Let's move it up a bit with G or the arrows. Now go to the Modifier tab and select Mirror. If we move our plane in object mode, nothing will happen. So let's press Tab to go from object mode into edit mode. You can also switch over here. Our mirror modifier is set to mirror on the X-axis, so when we move around our plane, you can see a duplicate of it appear. If you're ever moving something like this and you want to confirm the placement, left-click. If you want to cancel, just right-click and the plane will snap back to its original location. So let's just place it over here. If clipping is off, the planes are going to cover each other like this, but when we turn it on, it's gonna merge them together like this. So just drag them into each other. Now press Ctrl R to make an edge loop. Make it so the pink line is vertical on the middle of the plane. By scrolling the middle mouse button, we can add as many or as little edge loops as we want. Let's add 2 for now. When you left-click once, it will give you the option to move it around, but we don't want that, so cancel it by pressing the right mouse button. Now select a vertex by right-clicking it. Again, make sure you're in top ortho view when doing this. With the vertex selected, press G to move it around so it's on the outline of the leaf. Left-click to place it. Keep repeating this until we have the shape of the leaf covered. To see the sketch better, press Z to go into wireframe mode. This setting can also be found here. Pressing Z again will take you into solid mode again. Press Ctrl R again to add 3 more edge loops, this time horizontally on the plane. Left-click 2 times to confirm, and again move around the vertices so it follows the shape of the leaf. We need to delete this part of the plane now. There are several ways we can do that. We can right-click on a vertex to select it and go Delete Vertex. Another way is to press B and drag the left mouse button to select this entire face and then go Delete Face. By the way, if you ever want to select everything, press A. Pressing A while all your vertices are selected will deselect them again. One more thing to note here is this panel over here. These are the 3 different selection modes. This changes whether you're in vertex, edge or face mode. Edge mode will select edges, and face mode will select entire faces. So for example, we can go into face mode, right-click to select a face and delete it by going Delete and selecting by face. Let's undo this now and go back into vertex mode. Let's get rid of this vertex here, but instead of deleting it, we're going to dissolve it by pressing Delete and then Dissolve Vertex. This will get rid of the vertex without removing any of the surrounding geometry. Okay, let's go out of top view by just moving our camera. Since we're done modeling the shape of the leaf, we don't need our sketch anymore. Go to the overview panel and click the little eye icon to hide the sketch. You can also hide stuff by pressing H. Turn on proportional editing by pressing O. It's this icon over here. This will move not only your selected vertices, but the ones around it as well, making the shape more organic. You can adjust the circle size by scrolling the mouse wheel. The bigger the circle, the more vertices it will reach. So, with these vertices selected, let's press R and X to rotate the tip of the leaf on the X-axis. Deselect that and select the top of the leaf and do the same here. Let's get back to the tip of the leaf and nudge it down on the Z-axis. Keep shaping the leaf until you get a nice bent shape. Shift-Alt-right click here to select this edge loop and push it down. You can adjust the proportional editing circle size with the mouse wheel while you're moving the vertices as well. Just keep repeating the same steps until you get the shape that you think looks good. I like to add a bit of thickness to my leaves, so under the Modifiers tab, add the Solidify modifier. This setting over here sets the thickness amount, so let's adjust that a bit. In real life, leaves are way thinner than what I set it to, but I feel like the final render looks better if you exaggerate it a bit. We're gonna be adding some other objects to our scene in a second, so to help us see better, go under the Materials tab and click on New. Rename the material to leaf and under Color, select a color that you want. It's not important which, because we won't be using any of these materials in our final render. Okay, so let's add a stem for our plant. As always, make sure you're in object mode and that your 3D cursor is centered. Press Shift A and under Mesh select Cylinder. Now over in our tool menu, change the setting from 32 to 6. Now go into edit mode. We don't want these 6-sided planes on our cylinder, so select this edge loop and delete face. Do the same thing on the bottom. Go back into object mode and under view select left. Also check that you're still in orthographic view. Move the cylinder so it's next to the leaf and scale it down. Go back into edit mode and select the top of the cylinder. Pull it up towards the leaf. As you can see, the bottom half is moving with it because we forgot to turn off proportional editing. So let's just press O to turn that off now. I forgot to mention, when I select vertices with B, I usually turn on wireframe mode. This makes it easier to see what you're selecting. Add 3 new edge loops with Ctrl R. Now let's turn on proportional editing again and bend the stem. I'm using Shift Alt right click here to select the edge loops, and I just press A when I want to deselect them. They can also be deselected by pressing Shift Alt right click on a selected one. Go back into object mode so we can adjust our leaf. Rotate and move it so it fits on the stem. Switch between the leaf and stem and keep adjusting them until you're happy. Our plant needs a pod, so add in another cylinder. This time give it 8 sides. Delete both the faces like we did with the other cylinder. Move it to the plant. Make another material for the pot so we can see everything better. Shape the pot in edit mode. Now let's close the bottom of the pot. It's important that you turn off proportional editing for this part. Select the bottom edge loop and press E and then S to extrude the shape inwards. Press M to get this menu and click on Merge and then at Center. As you can see, this merged our faces at the center of the circle. Select the top edge loop and press E and S to extrude and scale it. Extrude again, but this time right click and then drag the blue arrow down. Adjust the new extruded plane so it's where we want it. Time to make the soil. Select this edge loop and press Shift D to duplicate it. Push it down and extrude and scale it inwards. Lift this part up a bit and then extrude again. We're going to merge this part at center like we did before. I'm going to press L now to select this soil we just made, and I want to add a different material to it. Do this by pressing the little plus over here, select the previous material we made in this step and then select Assign. This is more or less it for the modeling stage, so in the next part we'll be making a UV map for our plant.